mindset of the people? Why is it having two very distinct and opposite results when the text remains the same?
The only problem I have with the questioning is that, people are not allowed to really say what they mean. And if somebody says something, yes or no, you can't really get the point. Okay.
But I always try to let you qualify it. That's why I told you say yes or no, then you qualify. And that's what I've been trying to do so that I don't get this feedback. So what I'm asking is, let's go back to the question. If the text, okay, let me take it step by step. Do you agree with me that the text in the West and the text in Africa, they're the same? Do you agree to that?
Yes.
Good.
But I will also tell you again that the way that it was used in the West is different from the way it was used
here. So this is where I need you to clarify. What do you mean by the word used?
Okay. You see, Christianity is written in English. Bible was written in English, even later translated into our own languages.
Yeah.
The people in the West who actually wrote it by themselves.
Sorry to cut you. Sorry. Did you say the Bible was written in English?
You can hold on for me to finish. Okay?
No, but if you are making a statement that is wrong, it's good for me to correct you.
Wait now. King James. Let me ask you, who is King James? Who is King James?
So that is a translation.
Who is King James?
It was one of the kings in the English rule.
Thank you so much. Who colonized Nigeria?
The English.
Who when the Bible, I don't know if you grew up in Nigeria or when we were in secondary school and they were distributing Gideon Bible, that blue small Bible that we were all giving in secondary school.
That has Psalms and Proverbs at the back.
Thank you, my brother. What language was it written in?
English.
Thank you so much. That answers your question.
No, okay, so let me now ask you the question. Was the Bible written in English?
Translated in English. What was introduced to us is what I'm talking about. Whether it was translated is irrelevant.
Sister.
Whether it was translated is
irrelevant. Hold on. I believe that from the conversations I've been hearing you're a very intelligent person. Okay, so I think we should keep it at that. Now, when the English received the scriptures, did they receive it in English?
No, my brother. And
hold on now. You asked me questions. Let me follow that analogy. So why did the English translate the scriptures to English?
To bring it to Africa, to tell us lies.
Oh, God. Okay, so let me now ask you a question. The original Bible was written in what language?
It was written in Hebrew.
You don't know?
I wasn't there. Okay. I was told.
Okay. Like I said, let's keep this conversation intelligently, right? Now, the Bible was written in Hebrew and in Greek. Now, for the English to be able to relate with it, understand it, and digest what it means, they have to translate it into a language that they understand. Just the same way the Yoruba people translated it from English into Yoruba so that they can understand. That's how the English people translated it from Greek into English so that they may understand. Now, the question I would now ask is, if you say they translated or they interpreted it to be able to deceive us, is the interpretation in the King James Version that you claim, is it different from the original Greek? Again,
the Greek cannot be exactly translated to English and it will remain the same. You know that's science.
But the question is the context, is it the same?
The context, even though it's the same, you know yourself that if today people are preaching in the church, they'll be telling you that, oh, this particular line means a different thing. There's a deeper meaning to it. They don't do it exactly. It's manipulated. Other languages are added that people don't understand. When you're translating it from one language to the next, you will not say exactly the same thing. So it is not the same, my brother. It's not.
Let me give you an example, right? I'm from Benin Kingdom, and I like to use this example. Do you know what my Benin name is? My Benin name is called Esosa. Do you know what that means in English? Hello, are you still with me, dear sister?
People in the comment section keep me laugh. I am hearing you.
So my name in Edo language is Esosa, and in English that means God's gift. So if a person says, instead of a person to say Esosa said to me, and the person now said, God's gift said to me, has the person deceived me? Has the person deceived another person?
You have actually even said, you have actually spoken English. Esosa said to me, God said to me, Esosa, when you even talk about, you know yourself that even in your language, your name is Esosa, you said, but can I also ask you that Esosa can mean different thing, even though you can say it in English as God, right? Do you know
That's
also
God's gift.
God's gift? Do you know also that if you also decide to break that down, that it can still mean something more than God's gift?
Of course, I'm not denying that. But wait, hold on. But my question is this, right? If somebody then says, God's gift said to me, right? And in the Bible, it says, Esosa said to me. Is that a deception?
It depends on the context. You can still call it a deception because you cannot translate it exactly, because languages, they are science beyond something that one person can just put it into their own language and say that's exactly what it means. Another person can come and argue that in a different way, and they will still be right.
Okay. So I think I will start giving bass boost now so that we would understand where we are. I'm a Nigerian. I'm an African. And I'll tell you this for free. One of our biggest problems as Africans is not religion. It's us as human beings. Because even before religion came to us, yeah, let me give you this. Was it religion that brought slave trade to Africa? Sister CJ.
Yes. I'm surprised you're asking that.
Okay, so let me now shock you, my dear sister. It was not religion that brought slave trade into Africa. Neither was it even the white men. Before the white men came to Africa, there was already slavery.
If you're talking about the local slave trade that was happening among our people, that's
my
different from.
My sister, well, let's not categorize it.
You have to be specific.
My dear sister, let's not categorize it. Slavery is slavery. So are you trying to tell me that if I take an Igbo man as a Benin man, if I take an Igbo man as a slave, as a Benin man, it's different from if a white man takes an Igbo man as a slave? Is that what you are saying?
They can trust me. The men are very. I am more. This person is making. This type of slavery that was another thing is that
sister, answer the question now.
No,
because you said that it was the white. Sister, you said it was religion.
This type of slave trade that was happening in the transatlantic slave trade is different from the type of slave engagement that was happening in our culture.
So what's the difference? Oh yeah, explain the difference between the transatlantic slave trade and the normal slave trade. If not that they were being taken to a different country, what's the difference?
You also, okay, let me tell you. You also have to understand, and people can correct me here if I'm wrong. For the cultures that we're doing this, at least we watch that in a movie. We watch that from books that were written by our people who actually this time you can believe, because
sister, don't gaslight me.
No, hold on now. Calm down. Let me finish. My train of thought is something you're trying to disrupt there. Look, because there were true experience and people told us exactly how it is. This transatlantic slave trade had our people in chain, dragging them through rivers and seas, unaliving them, raping them, doing all sort of inhuman treatment, cutting people, whatever off, and all of that happened. Our people didn't know money. They were not using money during the time that they were engaging in slave issues and all of that. They didn't know money at all. There was no money exchange. It was a kind of
sister, you're answering question that I didn't ask you. And the reason why I am
trying to tell you that they're not the same. You said if we were doing the same before they came, and I'm telling you they are not the same, and I want to describe to you how they are not the same.
CJ, and let me just be honest with you. One of the reasons I'm taking it this easy with you is because you're a lady. If he was a man, I would have given him many bad sins. Because the thing that you're saying to me now is this. The question I asked you at first was this. Was it religion? If
you're trying to confuse somebody, is not an intelligent discussion. That is not being strong. You don't need to confuse me. You have to come smartly and we can discuss it.
My question to you was this. Was it religion that brought slavery to Africa? And your answer was yes. That was what you said.
The transatlantic and the transatlantic slave trade was brought by religion. Yes.
Okay, hold on. Why do you think it was called the transatlantic slave trade?
Because they were taken through that route.
Exactly. So, see, listen, and I think this is where you need to get it. The terminology transatlantic does not mean anything special. It just means that they were being moved through the Atlantic Ocean to a different location. The concept of slavery, my dear sister, is the same. It means you buy a human being and you do whatever the hell you like to do with that person because you own the person as a property. So when you are trying to distinguish between the transatlantic slave trade and the indigenous slave trade that was already going on before the white people, that is not an intelligent conversation. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because
okay, let me ask you now,
no
what was
difference.
our people, what, how was our people teaching slaves before that transatlantic one happened? How were they treating slaves?
Were different treatment. Like, for example, some of them, like the ones in the Oba Palace in Edo State, in Benin City, before their bottom, their blah, as men, were being chopped off. It's the same thing that was happening after So the truth is, when you are saying that Atlantic slave trade or religion is what brought slavery to Africa, I'm trying to show you, with all respect and because we, like host we say here, we love, we learn. You know, I'm not trying to teach you with, iron hand, basketballs. I'm trying to teach you kindly as a nice brother. If you say in public that it was Oyibo that brought slavery to Africa, that will not be an intelligent statement, because it will not be true. Before the white people came here, we already had slavery. Name it, all sorts. And I think what you're trying to explain is this. There are two types of slaves. There are slaves that are bought, and there are those that are called the spoils of war. Okay, so in Africa then, there were slaves that were bought, and there were slaves that were captured during war. But slaves are slaves. So what I'm trying to show you, because every time I hear a lot of Africans just focusing on how Christianity or religion has brought evil to Africa, and yet they look at the West as an example of the opposite, it baffles me. It blows my mind, because the West that we are complaining, that we are saying they are examples of heaven and all that, the foundation on which they stand is this same religion that we are using to destroy our own society. So at the end of the day, my dear sister, the problem is not the book. The problem is the mind of the person that is interpreting the book. Let me give you an example. I am a Christian. I am a believer. In fact, they call me prophet here. But I do not believe that I will go to church and be shouting, Father, provide, miracle alert, because I have read the book and I've allowed my mind to understand. So what I think that you should be doing, and I truly admire what you're trying to achieve, but what I'm going to suggest to you is this: rather than find something to blame like religion, why not look at the heart of people? Let me give you an example. I had this conversation with somebody recently, and that's why I'm a bit passionate about it. A white man, an Oyibo, I've lived there a while, I'm married to white, so I've seen things. In fact, I can even give you vivid example. I know of my father-in-law, his very close friend. He's best friends with a person who arrested his own son. So let me explain it. He was a police officer. His best friend's son was a criminal. It was him that went to catch his best friend's son, lock him up. Until today, him and that man, they are still best friends today, even if he did what he did. Now, why am I bringing that? In Africa, would you be able to arrest your own sister or your best friend if they go against the law? And this is Africa's problem. We are not accountable to ourselves. We do not hold ourselves responsible when we do things wrong. We allow family relationship to come in between right and wrong. So if I were you, my dear sister, I will look at the black people. We are very greedy as black people. We like to hold positions. We like to be respected in a certain way. That is why till tomorrow, the divide and conquer rule that the Oyibo people have been using for decades is still working, because we have people who want other people to lie down on the ground whilst they are walking. So, my dear sister, if you really want to help Africa, tell Africans to check their mind. Tell Africans to stop being over ambitious.
But you just said the divide and rule that the Oyibo people brought to us. You just said that.
So this is my point. I am not claiming that white people are not trying to manipulate us, or they are not still using us, or they are not still deceiving us to tomorrow. That's not my claim. I'm trying to tell you that the basics on which you think they are using to deceive us is not what they are using.
Question.
Yes, please.
Do you think it's a good thing that we have maybe like 10 churches in one street in the residential areas all over the country? Do you think it's helping us build, develop, and think properly?
I will give you an answer and then I'll give you a qualifier. I will say the answer is no. And the reason why I'll say that is because the West that gave us that religion, according to you, we don't have 10 churches in one street in the West. So it comes back to the mindset of the people that they do not really understand the book. So it is not the book that has a problem. It is the mind of the people that has the problem. Because the same book that is fixing another country is the same book.
Let me step in. Why are you two not seeing it as self-employment? Proceed.
Self-employment. Who they employ who now? My dear brother, host, CJ, I'm a passionate person for this same topic, but I believe that you've gotten it wrong. Our problem as Africans is not any religion. Our problem as Africans is our mindset as people. And I can list the first 5 things that is our major problem. First, we are too egocentric. Our idea of respect is slavery. For example, why do you ask a younger child to lie down on the floor just to say hello to an adult? I know people will come for me and say, don't question people's tradition. I know that it is a bid to teach respect. But on the flip side, look at it. You are telling somebody else, just to show respect to somebody else, you have to bring yourself to the lowest level of existence, which is lying on the floor, just to show somebody else that you respect them. These are the kind of things that we need to start checking. That is why in Africa, you will hear things like, no matter what he do as leader, he's an old man. Oh, nobody should be insulting an old man. Old man thief. Old man divert funds. Old man siphon public funds. Old man do anything. But the moment you say, this old man is crazy, everybody like, you curse old man. Nobody will care what the old man has been doing, because we have this messed up idea of what respect truly means. I'll tell you another thing. Lack of responsibility. A black person always wants to look for somebody else that is the cause of their problem. That's why we blame Winch. That's why we blame our forefathers. That's why we blame village people, because nobody wants to take responsibility for the choices that they make. Somebody will go and sleep with another person. When they catch him, you say it's devil. Really? So the truth is, my sister, I agree with you that there's a lot of work to do in Africa. But the truth is, the moment you start blaming religion, you are already far. It is the mindset of our people. We need to learn to understand that right and wrong goes beyond family. For example, you as my sister, so let's say I don't know if you've lived in Nigeria. If your sister was given a government contract of 10 billion naira and she used only 1 million to do the job and he chopped the 9 billion, and then you are in a place of authority, would you arrest her? Would you send her to jail? But the answer is simply no. But the truth is, white people will do it. In fact, I know people who don't speak to their parents anymore just because they feel that their parents was associated with person. There are people in America now who want to stop talking to their family because they say they even mentioned their name at all in Epstein file. Meanwhile, in Africa, we have all sorts. In fact, to show you our problem, you have people who will beat their hand on their chest today and say they support Tinubu. In Nigeria, looking at the kind of things that is going on, there are people, Nigerians, who can still say. Meanwhile, you look at somebody like Trump, Boris Johnson. In fact, Boris Johnson only said that people should lock down, and he didn't lock down. That was one of the reasons why he left office, because everybody was against. Because in Africa, we don't take responsibility. So, my sister, if you want to have a conversation with me, I will tell you what the problem of Africa is. But let me beg you, leave religion out of it.
not actually having a conversation with me. You are actually promoting your own idea and agenda, which is just based on what you believe.
It's okay. I don't deny that. But if we sit on this argument morning to night, the only thing I will use to destroy your argument is this. It is the same religious book. In fact, let's even add Muslims to it. It is the same, what do you call it? Quran that they read in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in all the UAE. That's the same Quran that they read in Nigeria, in Sudan, in Africa. The same Bible that they read in America, UK, all these places, is the same Bible we are reading in Nigeria. So the problem now is, why is it that that Bible is having a different effect in one place and it's not having the same effect in the other place, my dear sister?
People are those who have been fighting us as black people. It is the difference is our skin color. That's why they gave us a different type.
You see now, this is coming back to the exact same thing I explained to you. Taking responsibility. If you want to be honest with yourself, the simple difference is the mindset. The mindset, how we take the think. But if you don't agree and you say I'm postulating my own theory, that's fine, no. That's okay. I think.
Jeremiah, thank you. If we were discussing the other problems that we also have, we will be talking about that as well. But this is not what we are focusing our attention on. Our attention is on the religious aspect today. That's why I'm basing my discussion on religion.
But I'm telling you that premise is not right, because that's why I asked you at the beginning. You said that religion is more of the problem. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that if you want me to highlight what the religion has done, I can also tell you. I can tell you that religion has caused more, what do you call it, division, right? I'll tell you that religion has limited, what else? Yeah, division and limiting of, what's the equality of opportunities in Africa. So those are the two major things I can highlight: division and equality of opportunity. Other than that, I don't see anything else that religion has done to us. Anyway, host.
Prophet, let me step in there. Prophet, let me confirm something. Before Christianity as a religion came to Africa, were Africans not religious?
We were religious, but in our own type of religion, and that religion that we had did not condemn slavery.
Now, I'm not even going to slavery. I want to match religion and development. Prophet Jeremiah, can you rightly say that the Christian religion has helped in developing Africa more than the original or the African religion would have done in the development of Africa?
If I want to be completely honest, I can't just outrightly say yes, because there are some African countries that were way more developed than European countries as at the time that Christianity was coming in. Like, for example, the Benin Kingdom, for example. As at the time the Portuguese came to Benin, we already had street light. We already had good sewage, sewage system, drainage system. In fact, there was a Portuguese writer that wrote about, the Benin Kingdom so extensively that white people did not believe that there was a civilization of that sort in Africa, right? So I would say that in some cases, most cases, yes, in the vast majority of the entirety of Africa, but some parts of Africa, like, for example, the democratic system, there are some societies or communities in Africa that had a perfect democratic system even before the advent of the West. So I think that the religion has brought its the Christianity, or this religion that were introduced to us, it brought its own level of understanding, but I can't say categorically that everything was good about it. Like it was what development.
Yes. Yeah. Be honest, they stole our things because of that. They took it all.
Christianity that stole our things, sister. It was the thieves that stole our things.
But they
The
use
people,
religion, they use the Christianity to calm us down, to lie to us, to believe in the God that we go to heaven, and that's why
I'm not
they
denying
stole
that,
it.
but that doesn't then make, so
So how is that not the problem? And
let me not
secondly, my brother, I also tell you that if you think it was only Africa that were engaging in slavery before this whole colonial takeover of our country, then you have like do your own finding, because they too were doing the same thing. Do you know that they do the Irish people and the rest, some other Eastern Europeans were being used as slaves as well. They were doing exactly the same thing,
I'm not
unaliving each
denying the
other
fact.
before they came to our place. Not only us have that mindset, they also have the mindset, but they have lied to us and package it and make us look like
I'm
the
not
bad people.
denying the fact that religion like Christianity brought some issues. I'm not denying that fact. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. If you think that that's what I'm saying, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that really, but what I am saying to you is this, right? The fact that somebody can use something in a bad way to achieve what they want does not mean that thing in itself is bad. For example, internet is the reason why we are having this conversation right now, which we are learning from. Internet is the reason why some of us have certain businesses. The internet is also the thing people are using to scam other people to the extent that they will take their own life. Now, at the end of the day, are we then going to say that the internet is just evil? No, we will say that the people who apply internet to do good are utilizing it properly. And the people who utilize internet to do something evil are doing evil with it. So if you tell me that the white people used religion to exploit us, I will not argue that with you at all. But to then say that the religion in itself is evil because people used it to achieve bad thing is not right. I'll conclude by saying this. You have heard of the Nobel Peace Prize Awards. Now, the man who came up with that award was his name was Nobel, the man who created dynamite. He was an engineer. He created dynamite so that the bringing down of structures would be easy. But other people looked at it and said, this invention now, we want to be using it to unalive people in a mass scale. Now, at the end of the day, do we then say that dynamite is evil? The person who created it did not create it for evil. The person created it to make something easy. But other people exploited it and used it for something wrong. What I'm saying to you is this: religion in itself is not a bad thing. People will
Just reminded me of something here. In the Bible, it talks about slaves obey your masters. What was that book intended for?
It was in the context of work. In those days, they didn't have employee. In those days, the term for employee was slave. Okay? The term for employee. So what Jesus was saying was, employee, be subject to your employers. Kashiko? And that's why I even admonish them to treat them kindly. Treat them
That's
like
that's unreal. That's unreal, because that brings us back to exactly what we're saying. So that translation now, calling people slaves in English, is now meant to be employees.
So let me quickly ask you before my time goes, were white people ever slaves?
The black people were also capturing slaves among themselves. You didn't know that?
No. Okay, so let me ask you this. Were white people ever slaves to black people?
Nah.
Okay. You see, that's why I say you should read extensively. Have you ever heard of the Moors?
But they put it in the Bible that you should. They are telling the black people.
Have you ever heard of the Moors? Have you ever heard of the Moors?
Did
you have? Were they black or white? Did they have slaves that were white?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. So if we want to go about this slave matter, we have all enslaved ourselves. Black people have enslaved white people have enslaved black people. In fact, I would advise you to not accept the narrative of the white people, because one thing that they do is mental gymnastics. They make you feel like
all right,
you are the victim.
Prophet.
Thank you.
Prophet, let me step in there. Prophet, while you were dealing with C.J IDUH, our captain discovered that certain things you said were over the board, and he has requested for a special engagement to come and deal with you. Now, C.J IDUH, let me explain what is going on with special engagement. A special engagement is a sponsored engagement, meaning that the person gets 30 minutes to deal with the opponent. So anytime there is a special engagement, it overrides a normal engagement. Now, Captain is coming to deal with our prophet Jeremiah, because he was, when he was dealing with you, thinking that he had all the power